Thursday, July 4th, 2024, Monaco 64, home of alternative economics and contrarian views. We're going to look at the U.S. economy briefly today and the statistics that came out yesterday and whether I think the Fed will cut rates. I don't think they will, but it looks like the market is clamoring for rate cuts despite the fact that NASDAQ and S&P are at all-time highs. Doesn't make any sense to me. But before we go into that, there's a lot to talk about on the contrarian side, my contrarian philosophy. And I know it's not popular with everyone, but I'm not here to be popular with everyone. I'm here to tell you what I think and what I think is right. So, first of all, I'd like to wish my American viewers, and you're about half of all my viewers around the world, a happy Independence Day. But here's the part that you might not like, and you might not agree with me. Well, unfortunately, American independence ended on December 23rd, 1913. And why is that? Well, that was the day that the Federal Reserve Act was passed. And that's when the bankers took over the United States for good. And the same thing happened here in the UK, but it was a lot earlier, and there were two stages. And today, of course, is the UK general election, and we're going to touch upon that in a second. But in the UK, the British lost their independence on July 27th, 1694. That's when the Bank of England was created by royal charter, and I would say it lost even more of its independence on a date that many people probably won't think about as being that kind of event, losing independence, and that's 19th of July, 1844. What happened on that day? Well, the Bank Charter Act of 1844 was passed. And what that did, it restricted the power of British banks and gave exclusive note issuing powers to the Central Bank of England. So that's when the Bank of England really consolidated its monopoly on the British public and the economy. And forgive me for some of my quotes. And I need to come out with these quotes because today is a significant day here in the UK for people who still believe that voting matters, and I respect them for that. But it was Meyer Amschel Rothschild in the 19th century who said, give me control of a country's monetary system, and I care not who makes the laws. So think about that. The other quote I have is usually attributed to Albert Einstein, but I've seen that there's some people on the internet trying to say that it wasn't him, but it's still a good quote. And that one is, if you keep doing the same thing over and over, expecting different results, and you don't get the different results, that's the definition of insanity. And that's how I feel about party politics and elections. I've been in the UK since 1992, most of my adult life. And things don't really seem to change for the better for the general public. We keep going left and right, or different parties, or if you want to call it the different cheeks on the same backside. And nothing seems to improve, and I'm going to come to taxation in a second. And the other quote that I like to use today is from Frederick Bastiat, who said, the state is the great fiction, what's that again? By which everyone tries to live at the expense of everyone else. And with that, I'm going to ask not just my UK viewers, seeing that it's election day today, but my viewers in the US, Canada, everywhere around the world. And it might be a little bit depressing, especially if you were like me, approaching my 60th birthday, or even if you're in your 40s or early 50s. Just one day sit down, if you can, and write a list of all the taxes you've ever paid in your life. And by that I mean the whole amount that you pay every month, and add it all up, and just look at how much you've given away and how much you could do with that money, if you had that money, to make not only your life better, but your family's life better, your friends' life better, your neighbors, if you're into helping your neighbors. I mean, I was thinking about that this morning when I was walking Rudy, and we walked by a polling station, Rudy and I, and I was hoping that Rudy would cock his leg on the sign, but he didn't, probably because it was like clean and brand new. He likes, you know how dogs are. He didn't, but just add up all the income tax you've paid, add up all the national insurance that you've paid, not just you, but your employer. Add up all the council tax, which is, for Americans who don't know, it's like a real estate tax that everyone pays here to the local council. Add up all the VAT that you pay whenever you buy most things in your life. Add up all the tax that they put on petrol or gas, as the Americans call. Add up all the tax that they put on energy, your energy bill and everything else. Add up all the airport taxes. Add up all the tobacco taxes. Add up all the tax they put on alcoholic drinks. And I've got 9 here. Road tax 10. And I'm sure there's a lot more. And also add a lot of taxes onto what your employer has to pay. And you'll be amazed, how much you've given over to the state. And why do people do that? Well, I don't know. I think it's because it's the way it's been done. And people kind of go along with it. But yeah, do that exercise. I mean, I have a rough idea how much I paid, and I can tell you it's a bit depressing. And yes, we do get a little bit back in terms of here in the UK. I have to admit, I had my heart surgery done on the NHS. I guess that paid off. But the amount of tax and everything else is much, much bigger. And you might say, well, there needs to be some kind of administration for the rule of law. Well, and I kind of agree, and so does Frederick Bastiat, but that administration shouldn't do what is wrong. If you, let's say, if you as an individual stole from someone, let's say from Paul, and gave it to Peter, that's wrong. And that's what governments do. And the law needs to be very, very limited, in my opinion. So you could add all the tax that you've paid and maybe multiply it by 0.95. And that's how much you would keep. You wouldn't be worried about giving 5% over. So that's what I'm trying to say here. And unfortunately, most people need someone to tell them what to do. And that's why people clamor for leaders, and that's what politics is all about. And again, I go back to insanity. We keep doing every 4 or 5 years here in the UK. We keep choosing new politicians, new governments sometimes, and nothing ever changes. Does it get better? No. And aside from this exercise with all the taxes that you add up, think about if government was minimal and if government was really serious in terms of defending the individual and the borders of the country. I think we'd spend a lot less on defense as well. We wouldn't be waging needless and useless wars abroad. And why do they do that, though? Well, because government has been captured by big business, and also have been captured by the welfare statist. So the people in the middle suffer. And that's why if you go to third world countries, the middle class is a lot smaller, and that's what they're doing here. And I think, not much is going to change here in the UK. If Labour wins, and I think they will win, they might come after a little bit more, the middle and upper class. But it's going to be business as usual. Is there a way, in my opinion, of safeguarding your savings and wealth in the current environment? I've heard there's a lot of talk that they're going to go after people's private pensions. They're going to come and increase council tax and other things. There is really no way to protect yourself 100%. But I think having a little bit of gold and silver, physical gold and silver, squirreled away will go a long way to help you. And why is that? Well, I don't expect them to change the tax regime for coins of the realm. And by that, I mean, I don't think they're going to institute capital gains tax on sovereigns and Britannias, be them gold or silver. Mainly because they're legal tender and you can't really tax money. So I don't think that's going to happen. And it's not something everyone does. So think about that. I think having a little bit on the side would be good. And if you've never bought gold and silver, try my affiliate, Gold Investments. They've been in the business since 1981, and all the details are below in the description. And they give you a personalized service, Oliver Temple and Simon Temple. You can call them and talk to them. It's not just like online that you can deal with them. So that's how I see it. Or you could move to Italy. And why am I saying that? Well, it's just one of the countries that have been passing laws to attract wealthy people. And in Italy, if you go and live there as an expat, the maximum amount of tax you're going to pay is 100,000 euros, which is still a lot. But if you're here in the UK and paying a lot more than that, a lot more than 85,000 pounds, you could go to Italy and save a lot of money and have nicer weather, good food and wine. But the only problem with these rules and regulations that it can be changed. This was passed by the current government a couple of years ago. So my point is, it's very hard to protect yourself, and you need to think really hard about moving to another country in order to save on taxes. That's my opinion. And before we go into the US economy, I know that you're probably waiting for me to talk about that and the Federal Reserve. Just wanted to give a shout out to the gold coin balance. I've promoted these before, and I've always said that if you use a reputable dealer, you shouldn't be worried about whether your gold or silver coins are fake. But this is just a way of testing it. And the gold coin balance is for 1 ounce coins, Philharmonics, Buffaloes, Kangaroos, Pandas, Krugerrands, and Gold Eagles. And they've come out also with a silver coin balance. And I'm going to put both links. They're on Amazon, and it's really easy. I'm going to put both links below in the description. So there you go, gold coin balance. Now, back to the U.S. economy. And I spoke yesterday about the 10-year yield that I think is going to go higher, and I still think it will. And it actually did drop yesterday quite a bit, about 8 basis points. It had gone up earlier in the week quite a bit. So yeah, markets move up and down, but I still think we're going to at least 5%, maybe even 6% by October, which sounds a lot, but I think we've got a stagflation problem, even though the guys and girls at the Fed are denying it, of course. But I think the economic statistics that came out yesterday are pointing to that. And you might say, well, these statistics are tinkered with. Yes, to some extent they are, but generally they are quite indicative of the economy. Let's look at the stagnation part of inflation, which is the economy slowing down. Well, factory orders, for example, were expected to go up 0.2% in May. They dropped minus 0.5%, so that's a big miss. And factory orders ex transportation, they were expected to go up 0.3%, and they dropped by 0.7%. And I know it's just 1 month, but we need to keep an eye on that. I noticed also that jobless claims is continuing to move higher. We're approaching 240,000, which historically is still really low, but yesterday's jobless claims number was expected to be 234,000, and it was a little higher, 238,000. So those are the stag parts of the stagflation equation. And then we had ISM data, which ISM is Institute of Supply Managers. I think that's what it stands for, purchasing managers. And what they do is they go around businesses asking how things are, if business is expanding or contracting. And if the number is above 50, it means things are good, expanding. Below 50, they're slowing down or contracting. So ISM non-manufacturing business activity, well, that dropped from 61.2 in May to 49.6 in June. That's a huge drop, and it dropped below 50. ISM non-manufacturing employment, well, previous month was 47.1. It was expected to rise to 49, but it dropped 46.1. ISM non-manufacturing new orders, well, that was 54.1 in May. It was expected to drop to 53.6, but it came out at 47.3. In ISM non-manufacturing PMI, that was supposed to drop from 53.8 to 52.6, but it dropped to 48.8. So you can see that the economy is slowing down quite aggressively. But the deflation part you might be asking is this one here, ISM non-manufacturing prices. Well, they're expected to drop from 58.1 to 56.7. Yes, they dropped a little further to 56.3, but they're still way above the 50 level, which means that these managers that are surveyed still expect non-manufacturing prices to keep increasing. And that's why I think the markets are too optimistic about rate cuts. I don't think the Fed's going to cut rates anytime this year. And next year is going to be the same thing. They're going to, let's say by December, if they haven't cut, they'll come out, Wall Street and economists and analysts, they're going to come out and say, yeah, the Fed's going to cut 4 times in 2025. That's what they said in late 2023, 4 or 6 times even. And I think they're going to have a tough time even next year, barring, of course, a major financial, economic, or even geopolitical crisis. I don't see the Fed being able to cut rates. And that's why I think bond yields are going to continue to rise. And inflation is going to rise from now on. I think we've bottomed. We're seeing commodity prices go up, and you saw that the ISM non-manufacturing prices index is still way above 50. And yeah, hard assets, commodities, precious metals, physical gold, silver, miners. Yes, they're still undervalued, I think, especially the miners versus the overall market and commodities. But I think they're going to do well. They're going to continue to do well. We've had kind of a consolidation since 2022. But I think we're going to pick up again. And it's back to the 1970s, stagflation. And of course, they're going to deny it for as long as possible, because stagflation is discredits the Keynesian fallacy, really, and it discredits central banks. So I'm going to end right here, and wish you all a very good Independence Day in the U.S., and hopefully you can regain that independence one day. And how do you do that? Well, you end the Fed, abolish the Fed, and the same thing goes for the UK. You abolish the Bank of England. Yeah, you bring back sound money. And yeah, that's it for today. And take care. Bye.